Welcome to today's topic. We're going to be talking about the Renaissance. Be sure to pause whenever necessary so you can jot down some notes. The word Renaissance means rebirth, which is appropriate because during this time, artists and writers worked to recover the learning of ancient Greece and Rome to apply it to their own lives. Port cities, particularly in Italy, began to flourish after Western Europeans got a taste for goods from the East and the South. With the growth of trade came the growth of the merchant class. The merchant class often dominated yet shared its power with the older feudal nobility. Florence was seen as the leading city of the Renaissance in Italy. They had hundreds of different shops and even had a written constitution back in 1293. Because it was a bustling area, it was necessary to modernize businesses. Bookkeeping, credit generating, and organized banking all flourished in this area. Diplomacy also formed because cities were growing and countries were having more contact with each other. Embassies were necessary and alliances began to naturally follow as a way to form commercial relationships. It's important to recognize that writers and artists were aware of their new era. Calling themselves humanists was a way to distinguish their time period from the past and to identify their cultural program. Humanists valued knowledge for its own sake and because it was a guide to personal and political contact. Humanists wanted people to reach their full potential. Humanism stressed the importance of living in the world, actually appreciating life on the earth and not just focusing on the afterlife. They also believed in human dignity. Humans weren't worthless sinners, they had value. Another major aspect was the belief that all humans should be responsible citizens. This would make life more enjoyable. It's time for you to pause this video and read the document about the Florentine humanist Machiavelli. Respond to the questions on the course page before moving forward. In this time period, art began to reflect culture and values, not just religion. Artists were interested in human emotion. They revived classical ideals like proportion, order, and harmony. They also sought to represent the external natural world, the world people were actually seeing. Thanks to this artistic revival, artists became more important as art became a symbol of status. This is Donatello's David from around 1425 CE. It is the first freestanding life-size statue since ancient times. You see David as a weak adolescent. It's not about the religious story, rather, it's about victory of justice over might. Value is being placed on the principle of justice. More than half a century later, Michelangelo completed his David. Here the focus is on the beauty of the human form, not the spirituality of this figure. He has a serene confidence that could represent the Florentine ideals that went with humanism. Next up, we see Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper. Jesus is a very human version of Jesus without a golden halo around his head. We can see the divine in something so ordinary and simple. Another Da Vinci piece, the Mona Lisa, is one of the most human portraits of this time. This mentality to depict humans from ordinary commoners and even slaves, instead of just the saints and angels, represents the artistic move from religious values to humanist ones. Now it's time for you to pause and do some additional research. Follow the instructions on your course page. Humanists notice the benefits of the nuclear family and put increasing value on them. As families become more important, marriages become more personal, and parents have better relationships with their children. Humanists also saw education as a means to train responsible citizens and place increasing value on it as well. The role of men transitioned from medieval knights to civilized, well-mannered, educated gentlemen. This affected women who were no longer fought for by knights. Instead, their roles became more focused to their positive influences in the home and on their families. Another major societal change in the Renaissance was that serfdom was abolished. The period of the Renaissance saw the introduction of many of the features that distinguish modern life and thought in the West. These include secularism, the centrality of civic life, the importance of the middle class, the pursuit of knowledge in all areas of life, and the centralization of state power. Change was slow, and much of the old remained in place for some time. Your final task involves reading up on the humanists More and Erasmus. Go to the course page for more instructions. Thanks for listening.
Created using Powtoon.